what was your favorite moment during GamerGate?
Let's see. There were a lot of good moments. I don't know if I could pick just one. Oh, yeah. And what was it? Andrew Chu or whatever.
Arthur Chu.
Uh, Arthur Chu. Thank you. When he now he clearly didn't mean it the way it came off, but it was hilarious. But when he goes, uh, it ends tonight.
Oh my god!
He clearly meant because that was about SPJ Airplay, if I remember right. And clearly, what he meant was, well, they're going to have it tonight, and it's going to be over. But it was just funny because he just got nonstop shit for supposedly making a veiled threat, and I couldn't stop laughing at it.
Well, he did it right before the bomb threat got called in too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
just
like
within an hour or something.
So it looked like it ends tonight, and then a bomb threat gets called in like hours later, or maybe it was like a day. But it's like, I don't know.
No, it was that night.
Yeah, it was that night. So it was.
Yeah, yeah,
dude.
And that was, and bomb threats obviously are no joke. Pulling fire alarms is no joke, but that was so perfect. Like that was almost like an exclamation point for for GamerGate for me.
I'm not sure if you remember, but some people said that GamerGate should have ended with SPJ Airplay. What do you think?
I understand, because one of the issues with sort of political movements is congealing, like far, far beyond their intended purpose. So I understand, and don't necessarily disagree with people that said that. However, that said, it's not like an official membership or something. So it's just people posting on Twitter and YouTube and the chans and stuff. So they were right in that. I think that we accomplished largely what we as a community wanted to accomplish, but you were never going to stop people from pursuing it.
If you could have changed one thing about GamerGate, what would it be?
Let's see. All the hot bitches should have been naked. No. Like serious answer. I've gone into it already. But I do wish that we had been a little less trolly, and a little less dismissive. Although I'm not sure it would have done any good. But that is something that always did bother me because there were a lot of people that wanted to be taken seriously but weren't treating the other guys seriously. And I felt like that was, disrespectful.
What would you have personally done differently during GamerGate?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't have any thoughts on that.
All right, that's fair. Let's say 10 years from now, an online... Sorry, let me redo this. Let's say it is 10 years from now, and an online movement is looking to GamerGate, Black Lives Matter, and Occupy Wall Street for guidance for their movement. What advice do you have for them?
Well, actually, this is a point that I brought up when you were asking me about if I were to say something to journalists, and that would be that whatever side that you're on, recognize that whoever you're talking to is only going to present you with information they think puts them in the best light, and it's an ethical problem, right? Like a personal ethical problem, but you have to realize that people are not going to give you all the information, and so you need to be very careful when you're making decisions based on what other people say, because it leads a lot of people astray.
Admittedly, this is probably the least contentious interview I've done so far. I did push back significantly more with the other two, but we didn't really have any areas where I think I needed to hammer home, like not even hammer home, but just play devil's advocate and advocate more, because like most of what you said was like pretty chill. How do you think I'm doing when it comes to biases with this project?
Well, I mean, even if you hadn't said that you were a part of it, it would have been obvious from the questions that you asked that you. I don't want to say we're a member of GamerGate, but that you were on the GamerGate side. I don't think that it is. I don't think you did it in a bad way, but it was definitely clear that you do have a bias there.
What are some questions that I should have asked but didn't?
Honestly, it's been pretty exhaustive. I mean, um, I can't really think of any, to be honest.
All right. Do you have any other thoughts on this project? You obviously wanted to participate in this. You wanted to tell your story. So, what made this an important thing for you to do?
Um, just to keep the conversation going. Even nowadays, you've got critics of GamerGate spreading a lot of information that's dubious at best and outright lies at worst. So, as long as that keeps happening, I think it's a good idea to occasionally do something like this to make our perspectives available to people that might be curious.
All right. It's been 9 years. We just had the ninth anniversary recently. Is there anything that you've personally learned from participating in this?
Um, yeah, probably the biggest thing that I learned is uh, that when like online discussion is, I'm trying not to think how to put this. Um, Other people usually have a valid perspective, or at least a little thread of it. When Gamergate first happened and I got those ugly responses, I originally had this mindset that they didn't have any valid objections. That anti-GamerGate didn't have any valid objections. And what I learned was uh, they do have some. Um, they speak too emotionally, and so they don't really communicate it well to GamerGate. Um, uh, but the important takeaway is that people usually have some valid, at least, piece of perspective, and I've figured out that I should be more receptive to that.
Was Gamergate successful in your eyes?
Um, that would depend on how you define successful. I think we were successful in that we brought the issues to the wider to the attention of the wider populace or whatever. Uh, it was successful in that it kind of launched the culture war, which I think is important. Um, uh, it wasn't successful in that we really didn't get any ethical reforms. I mean, a few sites put up some ethics codes, but it's really more like suggestions and guidelines, and many of the ones that did have already taken them down. So we've had successes and we've had failures.
If an anti-Gamergate person is reading this right now, what would you say to them? Or what would you like to say to them?
Um, Pretty much what I've already said. Keep in mind that anybody, even if it's on your side, that you're talking to about almost anything that involves opinion, anything that involves politics, keep in mind that they're only going to be telling you like the stuff that they think uh, casts them in the strongest light. And so just keep that in mind, especially when you're talking to somebody that agrees with you or seems to agree with you, because that's often when we get sort of intellectually lazy.
Normally, I would wrap things up a little bit here, but you did talk about how you were socially awkward, or you had difficulty talking with people and didn't have very many friends prior to GamerGate, and that GamerGate helped. Do you want to talk about that?
Um, I mean, I can. You pretty much just said it. Gamergate gave me an outlet to sort of socialize with people, including you know, away from the keyboard, although mostly at the keyboard. But I mean, we had Gamergate meetups, we had gaming sessions, um, and I hadn't really had that until that point, and I didn't really become cognizant of how much of a problem that was until, you know, even a few years later. Um, I guess that would be my comments.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's actually kind of good that you're talking about how you used to be socially awkward and things were difficult for you, and then you were able to overcome that. Because I was the same way. Um, I had some friends who I'd hang out with, but like I wasn't like super social. I was kind of an introvert, kept to myself, and it was good to meet other people who were passionate about gaming and passionate about making gaming better. And I still think to this day that that's what the vast majority of us cared about. And there were some bad actors, and obviously we condemned them. And most of the bad actors weren't even GG people; they were trolls or they were GG
Or
Revolt, and that was a pretty small breakaway group.
yeah, or kids just trolling. There was a lot of that going on.
Oh, sure, 12-year-olds who were like, "Oh, let me go fuck with these GamerGate guys."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or harass Anita Sarkeesian.
True. Yeah. Like if you do you remember when Anita published a list of people who were harassing her, which you know, I think it's actually important. I think it's good that she provided evidence of the people who were going after her. I think that that's good. I applaud her for doing that. Um, but they weren't GamerGate people. Like, not a single
Yeah,
person on the list was pro GG. Like, I think two of like the 100 accounts that I harassed her had even used the hashtag one time, and all the other accounts were just like teenagers.
yeah.
They were
I
all like
remember
Call
that.
of Duty bros who were like, stop trying to take away my games,
Yeah,
you dumb, and then
yeah.
like
No,
say something stupid.
I remember that. That was a pretty big deal with Gamergate because, you know, she it was good that she provided the evidence, but when you actually analyzed it, like, this was not Gamergate. Like, she was just like throwing it at the wall, you know. Just and and even though they're not Gamergate, it's still not okay what they were doing.
No, of course not, absolutely not. Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it was hilarious because what was it? Something like 80 or 90. I can't remember how many, but there were a bunch, and I can't remember who went through the list, but somebody went through the whole list, and I think they, like you said, only found like two mentions of Gamergate.
yeah, it was Sargon who went through the list,
Was it okay? Sargon, yeah.
which he kind of went crazy later on in life.
Oh yeah, he made the thing about Sargon. I don't actually like him anymore. Well, I don't hate him or anything. It's just he tried to reform Gamergate into like a political party, you know. And I was like, okay, yeah, now you've kind of stepped into turf that I'm not okay with.
Do you think Gamergate was political?
Oh yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, we were definitely political. I mean, it was like a conglomeration of a bunch of different politics, but we were definitely political.
Talking about the Anita Sarkeesian point, obviously Anita Sarkeesian did receive harassment, and even if these people weren't Gamergate people by and large, she did receive tons of harassment. She's not really a big online person. She runs a YouTube channel, but like she's not like a huge internet savvy person, it seems. From her perspective, a bunch of Gamergate people disagree with her on some stuff. Bunch of Call of Duty bros who are like 16 years old are sending her mean tweets. Do you think she could reasonably just say, "Hey, look, probably the same group of people," without and say that in good faith?
Um, I mean, I don't trust anything that she says in good faith. I mean, she she founded Feminist Frequency with a guy who used to run a one of those pickup artist things. Um, what was his name? I think he quit going to sleep. Um, McIntosh, and he used to run this like pickup artist channel or group or something. I can't remember the details.
I'm not
But
sure
that's
if that's true. You might want to like put like
no.
allegedly or something in front of that.
Okay. It seems like that was the case. I could be misremembering.
I don't know. Jonathan McIntosh was like a feminist. I don't maybe before becoming a feminist he was involved with like other stuff, but I I don't remember anything like that.
Okay.
I don't want to
Well,
put. I
okay,
mean, unless you
then
got sources,
I could be wrong.
unless you got sources you want to send me.
Nah, I mean, I don't care enough about it
Okay.
to.
I just don't want
Yeah.
to. I honestly,
Yeah. No.
with
No.
this project,
I
I want to be super above board with all of the claims that are made.
Okay. Yeah, that's totally fair. I can't back that up, so I'll withdraw the claim.
Do you want me to take it
Um.
out of the book then?
Uh. If you think it's appropriate,
Okay.
I can go either way. Um. But yeah, but my point was like I don't trust her to do anything in good faith. I've seen the way that she argues, and there's no way she can do it consistently the way that she has, and be arguing in good faith. However, yeah, I can't buy it.
Okay.
I think that it was a political weapon for her. She saw an easy way to get, in my opinion, to get support, and kind of in some ways silence the critics, and so she went with that.
All right. Well, hey, is there anything else you want to talk about GG?
No, you have a pretty exhaustive list. I think we've covered most, like the main points.
You know, it's. I do have, I guess, one last question, which is doing this project. I was maybe it's because I was involved with GamerGate, so I know more about it. But it seems like anybody who wanted to know about GamerGate and cover it like in a fair, objective way, or even just like I don't even say objective, but like just in a fair way that's like presents both sides in a reasonable light, or like just even presents our perspective in any way, shape, or form, or even like remotely adheres to the truth of what happened during GamerGate. It seems like they could like just do that. Like all you'd have to do is like talk with us, because like like most of us back then, we all had our sources ready for everything. We're like, okay, here's this specific claim about this specific publication, and then this specific censorship controversy, and then here's the specific petition that we thought that was anti-free speech, and this is that, and this is this, and we had like sources and archives and everything. Like all a journalist had to do was be like, hey, I'm curious about this thing. Tell me about it. And we were like in the journals who did do that, we were willing to always give them that. Like it seems like it wouldn't be that hard to like try and cover this in a fair way. With just like it's not going to be like a 30 minutes of research. It's going to be like at least like 5 or 6 hours. But if you put those 5 or 6 hours in, you're gonna actually understand it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, journalists by and large, and I don't necessarily mean this in a bad way, but because it's tough subject matter because it attacks at an emotional level. But journalists are lazy by far, and the most convenient way of getting clicks, which is ultimately what they're doing, was to find a boogeyman, and GamerGate was that boogeyman. So you're right; it would be easy. Anybody, even to this day, that was a part of GamerGate, most of them are more than happy to talk about it. But it wouldn't get the clicks, and if you're a journalist, that honestly puts you at risk for sort of being blacklisted in some ways.
Well,
Not like a conspiratorial blacklist, but I mean like it'll put you out of favor with a lot of people that are in important positions in your field.
I hate to publicly contradict you, but as someone who is doing a project like this about GG, um, it's probably about 50-50. Um,
You think so?
reaching out to people, yeah, some people, like a lot of people are like, man, I don't want to touch that part of my life again. Or the reputation's so bad, they're like, I'm not sure I want, I'm not sure I want to have my name associated with that. Even though I do think that the Gamergaters were smeared.
Ah, I see.
Like, yeah.
Well, I
Or
mean,
some
that hasn't
people
really
just
been
don't
my
reply.
experience, but
Or some people
yeah,
just don't.
a lot of the time.
But
Yeah.
also, people are. We're reaching out to accounts that are people are only semi-active on Twitter, if at all, from 10 years ago, and so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if that's your experience, I can't contradict it. It's not been my experience, but
Um, I I think mostly, it's probably like 60% of people are willing to talk about it, probably, and then like 35% won't reply, and like 5% will be like, nah, bruh, I'm good. But
okay.
there's a lot of don't replies, including from people who are active in the space, active on Twitter.
Okay. Well, fair enough.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, cool. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Do you want to talk off air for a minute, or?
No, I'm good. I'm honestly like I'm a little sick right now, and so I'm probably gonna
Yeah,
go lay down.
you're good, man. Hope you feel better.
All right. Thanks, mate.
All right.
It was nice talking to you.
Good talking to you too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. See if we'll raid anybody. Not sure if anybody's live right now.